J.D. Souther has died. He was 78 years old. I'm John Bowden from Rock History Music. No cause of death has been released by his PR firm. They just said he died peacefully at his home in New Mexico. J.D. was considered a major pivotal member, unofficially, sort of an honorary member, let's just say, of the Eagles. Throughout the years, he's collaborated with Glenn Frey and Don Henley as solo artists, so he really was an integral part of that sound. And they knew it. John David J.D. Souther was an American singer-songwriter and musician. He was born on November 2nd, 1945 in Detroit, Michigan, and raised in Amarillo, Texas. When you look at people who were responsible for that Southern sound, that country rock sound, J.D.'s name is right up there with some of the best of them. Souther began his musical career after leaving Los Angeles, where he formed a folk duo called Long Branch Penny Whistle, along with future Eagle member Glenn Frey. They only released one album in '69, and at that point, Souther became a major figure in the LA music scene. Souther co-wrote some of the Eagles' biggest hits. Their first number one, Best of My Love, Heartache Tonight, and New Kid in Town. There was also Victim of Love, James Dean, Doolin Dalton, The Sad Cafe, You Never Cry Like a Lover. He's also the sole writer of How Long, which he recorded earlier on in his career, but was also on Long Road Out of Eden, the comeback album for the Eagles. Variety magazine released a few quotes from J.D., basically talking about how he was a background player in the Eagles. He said, "There was definitely a period of time where people would occasionally say to me, 'Doesn't it piss you off that the Eagles have these big hits off your songs?' I would usually start by saying, 'Would you like to see the checks?'" In an interview with Creative Independent, Souther says, "Pissed off? How could I be pissed off?" Even Glenn Frey once said, and he was kind of joking, but he knows how the royalty thing works. But he said one of the reasons that J.D. didn't have a bigger solo career is because he gave us and Linda Ronstadt most of his best songs. And speaking of Linda Ronstadt, he gave her Faithless Love and Prisoner in Disguise. And his songs were all over her career. He also dated her in the 70s. Souther co-wrote Hearts Against the Wind from the soundtrack to Urban Cowboy. He also co-wrote songs for James Taylor and Don Henley like Her Town 2 and Last Worthless Evening, respectively. He released his first album in 1972, simply titled John David Souther, but it was his next, Black Rose from 76, that got a lot of attention and critical praise. His third album was called You're Only Lonely from 79, which had the song of the same name as a big hit. It was actually a top 10 hit and a number one adult contemporary song. J.D. was also on the first three Don Henley albums. In the late 80s and 90s, J.D. Souther stepped back, choosing to do some acting. He was on the TV show 30-something in 1989. He also was on the first season of Nashville in 2012 and had small roles in films like Postcards from the Edge, Always, Purgatory, Deadline, and My Girl 2. He told the Acoustic Storm, "The acting stuff came because someone just asked me. I acted when I was a kid, in high school and in college, but I never thought of it in LA. Although anybody who likes movies fantasizes about being in them. But great people ask me to be in their movies. Steven Spielberg asked me to be in a movie. Ed Zwick asked me to do this arc of episodes on 30-something. Mike Nichols asked me to be in Postcards from the Edge." J.D. Souther was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2013. He was actually scheduled to go out on tour as a duo tour with Carla Bonoff, who of course is a huge part of the California sound as well. J.D. is one of those guys that I have to admit, of all the people that I've tried to interview and not gotten the interview, I think I've asked and reached out to his people more than any other one, because I cover the Eagles a lot on this channel, of course. May he rest in peace. What an amazing member of that sort of Southern California, LA country rock sound. What did you think of J.D. Souther? Did you ever meet him, go to a concert? What are your favorite songs of his? Make sure you comment on this video, like it, share it on social media, and of course, if you want to help the channel, there's always a PayPal link and a Patreon link. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. Take care of yourself.